So obviously there are different ways to do the same thing. It boils down to what are your intentions when you do certain things. For instance, in this case, as we use file input stream, because the data comes in bytes, we may have a reason why we would use this, right? There may be times when you want the capability of actually seeing the bytes that you were reading off of a text file, right? But there are times when all you need is just to read the text, read characters. Although this is a way that works, as you can see, we're able to create the file and then the file input stream here, we pass in the file that we're going to be reading, and I went ahead and create a loop here, a while loop, where we are reading from the file, and then we had to convert whatever we're getting from the file, which obviously it's all in byte type, right? Convert to char. That way we can actually see the words, the strings. Okay. Now there's another way to do the same thing, because Java allows us to do the same thing a lot of different ways. Mainly because, like I said, there's just times when you want to do things differently. There's a reason why you would do this versus what I'm going to show you here. Okay. So I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to leave the file there because that's the same. We'll be using that. Now, we're going to use a class called FileReader, okay? So what we need to do here is actually create that class, and then we're going to create a connection using the FileReader, right? Just like we created this connection here, we say file input stream, and then we pass in the file, which is the file to be read. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. Let's go ahead and say try, okay? Inside, we're going to say FileReader. We're going to call it FileReader. Equal to new file reader, and then we're going to pass in the file. Okay, so we've created our connection here, just like what we did here. And now inside here, we are going to create another class, instantiating another class called buffered reader. Just think of this class as having more capabilities to make more efficient reading whatever we're getting from our file reader connection here. Okay, so we're going to say buffer reader. And the beauty, again, if you're not sure about these classes, because there's no way we'll know about all these classes, right? You can see here, it says reads text from a character input stream, right? Buffering characters so as to provide for the efficient reading of character arrays and lines, okay? So this is perfect. Buffer readers, new buffer reader. And then we're going to pass in our file reader, because that's what a buffer reader takes, okay? So what we're saying here is that, okay, we want to efficiently read this text file, right, that we specified here. We went ahead and created the actual reader file reader. So this buffer reader here will allow us to read each line. Since we don't know if the file has 1 line or 10 lines or 1,000 lines, we'll put everything in a while loop, just like what we did earlier here. Okay, but before that, we need to create a string which will hold each line. So string line, and we're going to set it to null at first. Okay, now we're going to say while the line, right, this line here at the top is equal buffer reader, lines equal buffer reader dot read line, right, because now buffer reader is able to go and start reading the line. So we need to call the method read line. Conveniently, buffer reader has the read line, right? And then we're going to make sure, check if it's empty or not, if it's null or not, if it has something in there. So if it's not null, right, meaning if there's something, then we want to read. Let's go system.out, print, and then we can just pass in line. You'll notice it will do the same thing as we did here. In fact, let me just clear that. It will be the same thing, right? If we run, there we go. Hello world, hello again. Let's go here and say something, another thing, what is this, when will this work, something like that, something silly so we can see the difference. If we run again, look at that, right? So it's the same results. If we were to comment this out and do this again, it will show the same thing, but you notice the difference here. Here we're using file input stream. We went down one level to deal with the bytes. That's the reason why when we say system.out print, we went ahead and used char to convert the content, because everything comes as a byte, integers. And so we want to make sure that we actually be able to see it by converting it to characters. Okay? all of that. So we're doing the same thing, but in different levels. Here we are at the byte level, and here we are above bytes, which is characters and strings. So this is real good. Again, it's just another way of doing the same thing. Now, again, it will always depend on what you want to accomplish, right? If you go this route here, which is fine, you are at a lower level and you are more able to manipulate the byte level of things. And I will let you do here to change this general exception to a more narrowed IO exception. Okay, so you can do that just like what we did earlier here. All right, perfect. So you're learning a lot here, and I will see you in the next video.